thank you to Val and Darnisha and this gentleman back here that lent me his reading glasses. I remember when I was a principal, a student I'll call Jason kept receiving discipline referrals for the same thing. They read Jason came to class without paper, pencil, or a spiral notebook. I went to see the teacher and said, Miss Jones, let's take a field trip this afternoon. I want to show you something. We met in the parking lot and off we went. After traveling a long and winding dirt road, we came upon a small building. The roof had gaping holes with various shreds of black tar paper. The windows with no glass were covered with sheets. The front door was missing but had a makeshift tarp. I said to the teacher, this is where Jason lives. So you can see why he might not have paper, a pencil, or a spiral notebook. The teacher took my hand and held it as we stood there in silence. After a moment, with tears running down her face, she said simply, I understand. On the surface, this seems it's about poverty, but it's actually about much more than that. It's about a lack of understanding. 20 days from today, August 28, 1963, will mark the anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, where he called for civil and economic rights to an end of racism. The following year, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed. Most of us profess to believe in this dream, that one day we will rise up and live out the true meaning and hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. These are just words unless we act on them, and it's been 57 years. If ever there's been a time for progress and change, it is now. This is a worldwide problem. People from all walks of life are protesting, and that is powerful and important. Today we have a pandemic that's like a rogue shark attacking every person in its path with no end in sight, and disproportionately targeting those who can least afford health care. We have unjustified uses of force resulting in the death of unarmed and innocent Americans. We have big money corporations, Adam just referred to, funding political campaigns and holding us hostage, controlling our laws and negatively impacting our economy and the environment. We live in a country of inequality, where people with money have better health care and are generally healthier than the average citizen. We have 95,000 plus prisoners sitting in Florida prisons under mandatory sentencing guidelines, many who could be released and are my friends. We have schools that unwittingly practice systemic exclusion, resulting in minorities never reaching their potential and far too many dropping out. I saw it firsthand for many years. We have hardworking citizens working 2 to 3 jobs to earn a living wage. The poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer. Our political system is wrought with deception, immorality, and impropriety. It seems that everyone has chosen a team, and if you're not on it, then you're wrong. End of discussion. If you simply listen to the media, we are a country that is polarized, divided, and full of selfish people who only care about themselves and live in silos. Yes, you will think there is simply no hope. But we know that what unites us is ultimately far more significant than anything that separates us. I never saw how true this was in 1992. I was vice principal at Keystone Heights High School when Hurricane Andrew hit Florida. Our school was a shelter, and we had all types of people. My job was to get them a cot and food and generally make them comfortable. This was the amazing part. We had rich people from St. Augustine, from Ponte Vedra, laying in a cot next to homeless people. It was amazing. People were kind to each other, and I know this experience changed the lives of all of us there. It reminded us that no matter who we are, what we look like, or what we may believe, it is both possible and powerful to come together in common purpose and common effort. I believe that people are not politically left or right. Rather, I suggest we are up or down. We are either doing positive things to build up the world, or we're putting others down. We all must learn that we can simply not demonize people that we disagree with, because we will never make progress. We have strengths in our differences, and diversity makes us strong. So where do we start? We need leadership, and we have it here today. We need bold leadership. Leadership is a spiritual journey. It requires heart, soul, time, reflection, perseverance, humility, and a spirit of risk-taking. Leadership is not about power. It's not about ego. It's not about a paycheck. It is about serving others. Leaders must be able to inspire and empower others. They must tell the truth, even if it's not popular. True leaders make decisions regardless of what people think, because it is the right decision, and not whether it's a Republican or Democratic ideal, but whether it's a human ideal. We need bold leaders who aren't afraid to stand up for what they believe in, like Susan B. Anthony, who fought for women's suffrage. We need leaders who won't worry about what other people think, because they know they are doing the right thing, like Cesar Chavez, who stood up for constitutional rights of Puerto Ricans and Mexicans. We need bold leaders who aren't afraid of rejection or prosecution, like Rosa Parks, who refused to go to the back of the bus. We need bold leaders who have the courage to be different and not afraid to cast a different vote. We need brave and outstanding young leaders like Tavel and Darnisha, who are using their voices to help us all come here together as a community. Why? Because their moral compasses tell them it's the right thing to do. And I am so proud and humbled to be standing here with you today, and all these other wonderful people and all of you. I think about, what would the Dalai Lama do? What would Muhammad do? What would Jesus do? I don't know what they would do, but I think I know what they would not do. They would not walk away from this, and they would want all of us in this rally to see real change, because change is inevitable, but growth is optional. And we will all grow in this. Like many of you, I have researched the monuments, and some people say the statue at the courthouse should not be moved because it's over 100 years old. That is the very reason it needs to be moved. Do you know what was happening 100 years ago? And I'm sure you do, but I'm going to repeat it if you don't mind. Jim Crow laws were in full swing. Statutes legalized racial segregation and marginalized African Americans by denying them the right to vote, hold jobs, get an education, or other opportunities. Anyone, black or white, who broke the laws faced arrest, fines, jail sentence, violence, and death. Black soldiers returning to America after serving their country in Europe in World War I had been treated fairly while they were fighting. When they returned, their service was barely recognized, and the white supremacy groups like the Ku Klux Klan wanted them back in their assigned segregated places. They could not get decent jobs to feed their families. Monuments were being created and erected to ensure the future of white supremacy groups. If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what does. We think these things can't happen again. We think of the past being the past, but at this moment, the race riots are still with us. I ask you now, how would you feel to be living this recurring nightmare? This is America, and our fellow Americans have been living this for over 100 years. If that is not enough to move the Confederate statue that resides on public property, I don't know what is. Thank you.